What's up? What's up? Today, we're gonna bring y'all a serious episode. All the episodes are serious, but this episode touches in depth more on what's going on right now. A lot of these teenage people being shot and killed by police. I'm not here to say that all police officers are bad and don't call the police. We don't need policing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a lot of stuff that go on in the country, across the country, that we don't even know all of this stuff, because a lot of this stuff is only like regional in the area that this stuff happens, and some stuff happens and it goes national. So today we're gonna bring y'all a lot of information on a lot of stuff that's happened between teens and police officers across the nation that y'all don't even know about or never even heard or don't even know that even existed. So with this special episode, we're gonna bring y'all teens and police, the deception between peace and what is not peace. It's crazy.
Wisconsin today after police shot and killed an unarmed black teenager last night. This comes days after the U.S. Justice Department closed its investigation into the fatal police shooting in Ferguson, Missouri. Jerika Duncan tells us how this investigation will be different from the one in Ferguson.
Thank you all so much for coming out.
Members of the community gathered inside a church today to support the family of 19-year-old Tony Robinson. The rallying cry started last night when Robinson's grandmother grieved among protesters.
Don't let this happen anymore.
We have been marching in the streets.
It was a protest that looked and sounded like the ones ignited by the shooting in Ferguson. But here, the State Department of Justice, not the local police, are leading the investigation. Police say they received a call around 6:30 Friday night that Robinson had beat someone up. Authorities found him at a house and forced their way in. Robinson, who was unarmed, allegedly assaulted Officer Matthew Kenny, who then shot the teen. Madison Police Chief Michael Koval.
It's understandable that the reaction at the scene amidst some of our citizens is extremely volatile, emotional, and upsetting, and we understand that.
Robinson's mother, Andrea Irwin, is in disbelief.
My son has never been a violent person, never. And to die in such a violent way it baffles me.
According to court records, Robinson was convicted of armed robbery in 2014. More protests are being planned while community leaders are criticizing this latest police shooting of a black teen.
I don't want to have unity. I want to have action.
Some lawmakers in Wisconsin claim they're addressing concerns of injustice. Last year, the state became the first to require an outside agency to investigate fatal shootings by police. Officer Kenny, who allegedly shot Robinson, is on administrative leave. He is a 12-year veteran, and police say he was involved in a deadly 2007 shooting.
Police officer in suburban Dallas said he was trying to protect his partner when he fatally shot Jordan Edwards, an unarmed black teenager. But video and the partner told a different story. And tonight, 38-year-old Roy Oliver is facing a possible life sentence after a jury returned a rare murder verdict in a police shooting. Here's Omar Villafranca.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of murder.
There was crying in the courtroom, but no emotion from former Balch Springs police officer Roy Oliver. After 2 weeks of testimony, Oliver was found guilty of murdering 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. Odell Edwards is the teenager's father.
It's been a long time. It's a hard year. I'm just really happy.
In April of 2017, Oliver and another officer responded to a loud house party. They heard gunshots nearby and spotted a car leaving the party. Edwards and 4 other unarmed teenage boys were in that Chevy. Oliver told investigators the car was in danger of hitting his partner. So he fired 5 rounds from his rifle into the car.
He was trying to hit you.
During the trial, police body camera footage showed the car was driving away from officers, and Oliver's partner said he never felt he was in danger. Prosecutor Michael Snipes said police are to be respected, but are not above the law.
We love them, but not when they do what he did that night.
Since 2005, 31 officers have been convicted of manslaughter or lesser charges in police shootings. Oliver is only the second officer to be convicted of murder in more than a decade. Daryl Washington is the Edwards family attorney.
This case is not just about George. It's about every African American, unarmed African American who has been killed and who has not gotten justice.
Oliver was found not guilty on 2 aggravated assault charges. The sentencing phase is underway right now, and John, Oliver faces 5 years to life in prison.
Omar Villafranca for us in Dallas. Thanks, Omar.
Hey, get distance. Hey, back up. The victim down. Victim down.
This body cam footage released by Los Angeles police shows officers responding to reports of an assault at a clothing store on the 23rd of December. The officers are clearly on edge.
You got it? You got it? Yeah. Okay. On your back. He's hitting on the right-hand side.
At the scene, they find a woman on the floor, bleeding but alive. The 24-year-old suspect, Daniel Elena Lopez, is at the end of the aisle. The officers open fire.
Shots fired.
3 shots are fired with devastating consequences. Lopez is killed. But one of the bullets passes through into the changing room and hits a 14-year-old girl, an innocent victim who was in the cubicle with her mother. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Mourners left tributes for the young girl, while the chief of police in Los Angeles described the incident as devastating and traumatic. But the force has questions to answer. LAPD officers have shot 38 people, 18 of them fatally in 2021, a big increase from the 7 killed in 2020. The League of United Latin American Citizens, America's largest Latino civil rights organization, has called for change, saying, "This incident is only the latest in a rash of recent LAPD shootings involving Latinos. It's apparent that the days of shoot first, ask questions second are rearing their ugly head again in one of the nation's law enforcement agencies."
After a police officer shot and killed an unarmed high school student in a neighboring community when he allegedly fled on foot during a traffic stop. The deadly shooting was caught on camera. NBC's Ron Mott has the story. We want to warn you, some of these images are disturbing.
So no justice, no peace.
Tonight, calls for justice for Antoine Rose.
Why are they shooting at him? All they did was run and they're shooting at them.
Cell phone video showing the 17-year-old black high school senior gunned down by East Pittsburgh police after running from a traffic stop, shot 3 times.
All lives matter.
Protesters rallied outside the county courthouse, the county leading the investigation into what happened. Donna Giles came with her 18-year-old son and 14-year-old daughter.
He didn't have to shoot him in his back.
That could have been my brother, my friend, like anybody that I know.
Police have not identified the officer who opened fire on Rose and another male as they were fleeing, now revealing that officer had been sworn in just hours before the deadly shooting. Although he had been an officer in other departments, the officer now on leave.
Is the officer white?
I don't understand what that has to do with the situation.
Authorities stopped the car in which Rose was a passenger because it matched the description of a vehicle involved in a drive-by shooting minutes earlier. Police say 2 guns were found in the car on the floor. But Rose was unarmed when he was shot. Tonight, protesters demanding answers.
There's obviously a racial bias in this, and that is what we need to stop.
Tonight, the borough of East Pittsburgh issued a statement offering condolences to the family of Antoine Rose. The officer who shot and killed him is on leave, and the investigation being led by Allegheny County is ongoing.
The mayor of Waukegan, Illinois is calling for a calm. Tonight, the mayor of Waukegan, Illinois is calling for a calm after the deadly police shooting of a black teenager. Protesters took to the streets today over the killing of 19-year-old Marcella Stinnett and the wounding of 20-year-old Tafara Williams. Investigators say the officer, who is Hispanic, opened fire as the couple's car rolled in reverse towards him, and that the couple had fled from another officer earlier Tuesday night. No weapons were found in the car.
This evening, protests in Ohio and an investigation is underway after a Columbus police officer shot and killed a 16-year-old girl during what authorities say was a fight between several people. Police released body cam footage of the shooting just hours after it happened. The short clip appears to show 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant with a knife in her hand and lunging at a woman when the officer opened fire. Tonight, authorities are urging calm as the community members are calling for justice. News Nation reporter Eric Halperin is in Columbus for us live tonight with the very latest.
Marnie, a group of about at least 100 people just finished up gathering here east of downtown Columbus to hold a vigil for Ma'Khia Bryant and remember her life. You can see down here on the pavement, they wrote her name. They also had a 16-minute moment of silence because Ma'Khia was 16 years old. Many of the people out here tonight were also out protesting last night. Plans are to eventually protest outside Columbus Police Headquarters. That's where some of them are heading right now. And tonight we're also learning more about 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant. I talked to one of her teachers earlier today. He says she was a great student who chose to sit in front of the class. He says earlier in the day, yesterday, she had sent him details about her 5-year plan. She had plans to go to college and figure out what she needed to do to open her own eyelash salon.
To get that information from a student who is taking the time to reach out to you to email about something they want to do in the future, and to have that removed, it's hard because she was very passionate about her future. She was very passionate about being successful so that her parent will be proud of her.
And today, Columbus Police also released more body camera footage from yesterday's shooting. The interim police chief here says the video shows Bryant with a knife trying to stab 2 people. In video from one of the officers, you can hear a young woman tell police Bryant came at her with a knife.
She came after me.
With a knife?
Yeah, so he got her.
And the people here gathered tonight say police should have done more to de-escalate that situation before using his gun.
Overnight in Washington, D.C., outrage growing over a young life cut short.
MPD, the U.S. Attorney Office, do your damn job!
A community meeting boiling over with anger at the shooting death of 13-year-old Karan Blake. The teenager killed by a man who later told police he confronted and shot the boy he believed was tampering with cars on his block early Saturday.
Because this is, in fact, a murder, a homicide.
The shooter has not been publicly identified or charged with any crime. That's infuriating some residents who see the shooting as a vigilante killing and the investigation as a cover-up.
Property is never worth the life of a child or anybody.
The district's police chief defending the department's handling of the case.
What do you say to people in the city just broadly who want to be assured that there'll be accountability for this?
It's not about getting it fast, it's about getting it done right, making sure that if there's a person to be arrested, that we do it the right way.
The chief also hoping to dispel false rumors that the shooter was a member of law enforcement or that the confrontation was racially motivated, saying Blake and the man who shot him are both black.
People are making assumptions and searching for people that are not involved. People are making allegations centered around race, and that is wrong.
Police say it was the shooter who called 911, adding that he was performing CPR on the teen when they arrived. Authorities are gathering surveillance video and other evidence to present to a grand jury to make a charging decision. And while the investigation continues, a community mourns Karan Blake. Blake's middle school principal describing him as a quiet and inquisitive scholar who loved fashion and football.
Karan Blake leaves behind his mother and 3 younger siblings. There's no word from D.C. police on the time frame for this investigation now, Craig.
It is such a tragic story, though. Garrett Hakeforth there in Washington.
Are questioning the process of the Franklin County prosecutor. They gathered outside his office today to call attention to the specific case of Craig Butler. He was charged with the murder of 13-year-old Sinzay Reed 2 weeks ago, and his case has since been dismissed by the municipal court. NBC4's Anna Hoffman has been digging into this situation, and she joins us now live. So, Anna, how often does this typically happen?
Jared, a felony case being dismissed by the municipal court is typical protocol for the county prosecutor. The next step is normally indictment, and then the case will be picked up by the common pleas court. But right now, there's no word on when and if that will happen.
No justice, no peace.
Family and friends of 13-year-old Sinzay Reed gathered outside the Franklin County Prosecutor's office to demand answers.
I will not stop until I'm heard because Sinzay Reed deserves justice.
Reed was shot and killed on October 12th at the Wedgwood Village Apartments. The next day, 36-year-old Craig Butler Sr. was arrested and charged with Reed's murder. Witnesses say they saw Butler exit his truck before the shooting, then get back in and drive away after. Butler appeared in court later that week where he was arraigned on those murder charges, and he claimed it was self-defense. Court records show on October 20th, the case was dropped by the municipal court out of a request of the prosecutor. Butler has since been released, his bond dismissed, and he is now technically walking free.
This man left the scene and how to get caught by SWAT 2 days later. And then y'all let him out.
It's been 1 week since the case was dropped, and there are no signs of it being picked up by the Common Pleas Court. We reached out to the county prosecutor, Gary Tyak's office, for clarification on this issue. They sent us back a statement which says, in part, the municipal court does not have jurisdiction to hear felony cases except for a limited period of time. It is standard practice for almost every felony case filed in municipal court to be dismissed. This particular case is still under review for possible presentation to the grand jury, and unfortunately, I cannot advise you when the case will be presented to the grand jury. Since this statement does not tell us much about what comes next in this case, I tried reaching out to the prosecutor's office to learn more. They told me they have no further comment. To read their full statement, head to our website, NBC4i.com. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Anna Hoffman.
Body camera capturing that encounter, the 13-year-old appearing to stop and turn at one point, appearing to raise his hands. The officer fires the shot. The officer said the suspect had a gun. A still image from that video tonight. Adam Toledo, his hands right there. Authorities say a handgun was later found a few feet away. Today, an emotional Mayor Lori Lightfoot saying it was an unwinnable situation, a boy out in the middle of the night with an adult, but saying the city, quote, failed the boy. The mayor calling for calm tonight, and ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas leading us off with the images. And again, we warn the video is difficult to watch.
You're about to witness a tragedy unfold in the blink of an eye. Just after 2 a.m. on March 29th, Chicago police respond to reports of shots fired.
Chicago Emergency, Travis.
Hi, I just heard gunshots.
How many shots did you hear?
A lot, more than 5.
An officer arrives at the scene, body camera rolling. He races through an alley in hot pursuit, shoving the second suspect aside during the chase. Then suddenly a confrontation. The officer yelling to see the suspect's hands. The suspect stopping and turning quickly. The officer fires a shot.
Show me your hands. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, 4. Get somebody else over there. 3230, go inside and way over there with 3161. Gonna be off of 11700, blank over to the McDonald's. And 3161, you want a running code?
10-4. License plate. Get out of the car.
What?